Piano, piano.
Oh, I'm not a fan of sugar in my tea.
Why did you put sugar in your tea?
I put sugar because I followed you, and I was like, I haven't had sugar in my tea in about 10 years.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's still
not great.
It's not great now.
I do like every now and then. Not bad. What tea bags did you use?
Berries.
Right.
Bought it.
Hello, I don't know what we look like on camera here with the telly in the corner. You surely can't see the telly, can you?
No, you can't. I've checked that.
Close proximity, man. The studio's getting small. Smaller. It could be because we have Manchester City and Real Madrid on the telly crew.
Yeah, it was a bit
Ever the professionals, huh?
It was a bit of a conundrum getting this set up, but we have a little Twitter stream going.
Don't say that. We've paid for the stream.
Sorry, yeah, we've paid the provider for the stream.
Yeah, we've paid. Yeah, we did. We're not watching a stream on Twitter. Are we?
No, we're not watching.
Tell the people what we're doing today, Kieran.
So today we are previewing the 2025 League of Ireland season. Adam has graciously offered to be the knowledge behind this piece, and I will be the anchor for this week.
This could go really wrong.
It could go really wrong.
Really badly.
It could go really wrong.
Yeah, no, it should be okay.
It could go really right as well. Imagine it went really right.
What is this going right though? Like, what's the result of it? You know.
Well, hopefully people giving me less abuse on.
Yeah,
you've
been getting a lot of fucking stick lately, man, haven't you?
Yeah, a lot of stick, and is it unwarranted? Maybe.
I don't think it is unwarranted, to be honest. But I'm always gonna try and gaslight you. So.
Do you know what? I cried a few times after reading. That's a penalty, by the way. Great penalty. But anyway, I cried a few times over that criticism. But
the League of Ireland Kieran season's back on Friday. We kicked off kind of. Do we say we kicked off? We kicked off on Friday with the President's Cup between Shells and Drogheda, in which Shelbourne won 2-0. It was very much out of canter as well. It was a weird game. It was a weird atmosphere. It was like.
Probably because it's a pre-season.
This is the thing, yeah. So I was getting text during the week from people. It's like, if you win, great, it's a trophy. If you lose, it's only a friendly. And that was genuine the vibe that I got around the place. You know, there was 4,500 people there.
Was the president there?
Michael D was there. Yeah. He presented the cup.
No, I was hoping he was going to be there with his cup. You know,
it's named after him, the Michael D Higgins Cup. Yeah. But yeah, it was good to be back. Yeah, it's good to. It feels weird being champions.
Yeah, it's an impending doom, Adam, isn't it?
You think?
Because you're defending champions now, you know.
Yeah.
So it's you can never really get as good. But that's what I was actually going to start with for this preview. So there's a few key talking points here to go through. But the first one, obviously, you just brought it up. Shelbourne, the defending champions, going into the 2025 season. How does that feel?
Well, one, I said it feels peculiar. It feels fucking amazing, man. It feels really good.
Yeah.
It's a sense of there's a real sense of achievement amongst the club at the minute. Because it's going places that I don't think a lot of people could have seen the club going. I love how you keep saying defending champions as well. Duffer said in his press conference last week, it's one of the words he's banned is defending champs, because everyone starts on 0 points. You know, that was his reason for it. So it's very much a mentality thing. But yeah, no, it feels. I think there's more pressure on us naturally enough, and that's only to be expected, having won the league last season. So buzzing to get going. Yeah, really buzzing to hopefully hit the ground running as well, because Derry on Friday is a tough game, and we're probably going to touch on them later on in the podcast. But yeah, really positive signs, and it's. You know, last year we had Will Jarvis, and maybe beneath that, you know, there wasn't a lot of depth. But I definitely feel this year the squad's really strong. What's
your opinion on the incomings, the signings you've made?
Good.
I have a list here. Ryan O'Kane.
You really have prepared.
Mipo Odupenko from Fleetwood, Ellis Chapman from Sligo, and then obviously you have the outs. The big talking points would be Matty Smith and Liam Burt, who are obviously in your title winning team. Are those the right decisions, do you think?
I think when you're building a squad, and look at, I love Matty Smith was when we were coming back from Gibraltar from the game against Joseph's, we were on a bus with Matty Smith's mum and dad and his family, and we were obviously chanting Matty Smith chants. But he's someone who he never really stayed fit for Shells, and I think last season was the first year he really got a good run, and he just couldn't find the back of the net, unfortunately. And when you're coming into a new season, like you try to upgrade your squad. So with Matty Smith going out, we brought in Meepo instead. No, like as a replacement, obviously not a direct replacement. They're very different players, but Meepo's a goal scorer. And
what can you tell me about him? Does he score a lot of goals?
He made his debut for West Ham against Manchester United. He's been branded with, and I'm sure this is fuel for motivation for him, but he's been branded with the kind of title of having a bad attitude and stuff like this. He's going to be able to prove a point. Yeah. And he looked really sharp on Friday against Drogs. He looked like someone who had a real kind of bit between his teeth. And I can see him, come here. The funny thing about the League of Ireland now, especially, if he has a good season, he could be back playing in England by the end of the year. If he was to perform this year and say Shells win a cup or do well in Europe and even, win the league again, these players will be picked up. Like even Sean Boyd, I think it was St. Mirren were coming in for him now. They offered Shells pretty much little to nothing, so that's why he didn't move. But a player like Meepo has a point to prove, still very young as well. Like it's not like he's coming back in his late 20s. He's coming into the squad. I would hope young and hungry, and Duffer loves players like that, and he's brought players in like the likes of Paddy Barrett, even Liam Burt to an extent last season. He kind of brought him along tenfold as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. I do think he's going to be dangerous this year. If anyone's playing the League of Ireland fantasy football, I would definitely have him in it.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of new recruits, I call them, for the League of Ireland. Like it's a ever-growing league. We see now that there's going to be a game on the Aviva this Sunday.
Yeah.
Regardless of opinions about that, it's still, I'm sure it's to grow the game. But there's going to be a lot of new people listening. Obviously, we'll fill you in on last season. We've chatted about Shells in the league, but outside of Shells, there's the European spots, Adam. I think last year it was Pats who were in contention. It was Rovers as well, and Derry, I think, just missed out at the end, didn't they? If
Derry had won the cup,
yeah,
they would have been there. So yeah, they missed out.
Yeah. Who can you see in contention this year?
I think much the same. I think the thing about the league, most seasons, is you could nearly split it in two, in terms of the teams who are on top and then the teams who are, I don't want to say at the bottom, but the teams from the bottom 5 down. So you're talking 6th to 10th. I would imagine I quite like the look of this Bow squad, this Bow starting 11. I think when you go beyond that, maybe not so good, but they've invested well. Like people are gonna, bring up the Moose a lot, and I said it to you before we recorded. It's gonna go one of two ways with him. He's either gonna be really good or really bad. That's for me. I don't think there's any middle ground.
What was he?
There.
He was 11 million. Record-breaking transfer for
Sheffield United, yeah. So like,
this is Lise Mousset we're talking about.
Yeah,
the Moose.
The Moose is loose in Philsborough. No, look at Khmer. I think if he gets himself right, he's another player a bit like Meepo. Obviously, different kind of trajectories and stuff in their careers. He's a player who's been without a club for 18 months. He's coming into Bows and like people say the League of Ireland can be a bit of a canter sometimes. I wouldn't necessarily fancy him to just come in and bang them in. No, he could. The thing with being a Premiership footballer, and I had this conversation with someone who worked the other day, to be a League of Ireland footballer, you have to be really good at football. I mean, top level in our country. To be a Premier League football, you have to be, Premier League footballer. You have to be like top 1% of footballers.
Yeah, I mean,
like, he definitely has talent. If you can get his fitness right, if you can get his attitude right, you're looking at a really good player.
We've seen with that's a good point you raised about to be League of Ireland football, you have to be a very good standard, and we've seen with English players coming back to Ireland. Most recently, Patrick Almond, how well he's done, banging them in for Waterford. That it is kind of it's not as much pressure as being in the Premier League, I think.
Oh, jeez, yeah, that's enough.
Or even England, for example. But
I'd just be curious as to how he settles in. Like, if he doesn't kind of hit the ground running and doesn't get his fitness right, like, that adds pressure. Like, the longer he goes without scoring a goal, the more pressure it's going to be on him, essentially. I can see him. I think it's going to go one of two ways. I'm looking at the rest of the Bows side, though. I'm looking at the likes of Dale Rooney, the likes of Connor Parsons has come in, Ross Tierney's still there.
Keane Best, do you rate him?
He came from Preston, didn't he? Stephen Dowling, shout out to him. Preston fan, of course, the resident Preston fan. He said a lot of Preston fans were upset with him going. He's only young. He's only, 19. Relatively young. Yeah, so like he's a long way to go. I remember Bowes brought in Luke Matheson, I think's his name, last year from Bolton, and he did all right. I don't think he was any great shakes now, but he wasn't bad. So look, at Bowes have history of bringing these players from abroad over, and they do relatively well. I would fancy them to be up in the European contentions. Now that this is provided they keep their players fit. I think there might be one or two defenders short.
Yeah.
Midfield is very strong, arguably one of the strongest in the league. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how they get on. I don't think Shamrock Rovers will be as good as what they've been in recent years, and then Pats will definitely be up there as well.
Yeah, so you're going for Bowes for a better season this year.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
And when they've had a season like last year, anything is better. Do you know?
A few notable manager changes, Adam, since the League of Ireland finished. Rory Higgins, who should have been backed, by the way, has been replaced by Tiernan Lynch for Derry.
Former Larne manager.
What do you think of that? That's a bit of a weird, I would say a weird change in considering
fully deserved.
Yeah.
They finished, what was it they finished last year? Was it third or fourth?
Fourth.
So Derry finished fourth in a 2-horse race last year. Explain that to me.
Well, that's a very biased perspective, but I get
it's not a biased.
I get what you're saying, but no, I just think it's. What do you think of the recruitment of a Northern Irish League manager? That's more so what I was picking at there.
Maybe look at. I don't think he's coming into this league with any kind of preconceptions. Like, he's coming into this league having managed up in Larne. Larne were obviously playing Conference League football this year as well. They got beaten 5-0 by Rovers.
Yeah.
So there is still that depth and quality from the NIFL and obviously the League of Ireland. So I would be kind of apprehensive from a Derry point of view. The recruitments they've brought in, the likes of Benson, Boyce, they brought in players who are, decent players.
A lot of Larne players as well.
But they're just over the hill. A few of them are kind of, like getting rid of Patrick McElhenney, for example, I think is bonkers. Like, I think that's a really ridiculous kind of loss. But other than that, I think he's recruited well. He's brought in players who, some of them, I think Boyce is such a good sign.
He's came from Hearts,
and he has a good record with Harps as well. And he'll bang the goals in.
Right.
And they still have Pat Hoban up front as well. Like, they're still, they're still. I think the thing with Derry that their issue was last year was the mentality was really poor. The mentality was poor. I think looking back on the end of the season, and we had this conversation before. If you told them at the start of the season you can win the league on the last day against a Shell side who, we weren't fancy to win the league, they'd have bitten your hand off for it. And you get to a point of which they draw with Bowes at home, they draw with Sligo at home. They win those 2 games. They can draw against us on the last day and win the league. So I think their attitude last year was really poor at times. I think Higgins doesn't help the situation the majority of the times. The cup final was an anomaly. Like, they really, I know you're disagreeing with me, I think they really let themselves down last year.
Well, I just think equally what you're saying, Derry dropped points. I think everyone was dropping points around them. So I think it's quite a harsh criticism to say, they bottled it. I think everyone bottled it, and then lesser of the bottlers, Shells came out on top. That would be my perspective on things.
We had to win when it came to crunch time. We had to win 3 games, and we won all 3. So you can hardly call that a bottle job.
No, but the games before you were dropping points, just like Derry.
But that's kind of irrelevant when the point being we had to win 3 games at the end of the season, and we won all 3. Like you can't say Shells were bottling the league before that. We weren't. We had an ultimatum.
Like, were a little bit.
How?
Because you were dropping points and losing
Is that
games.
bottling a league though? A league that we've won, by the way.
It was a hint of a
You
bottle.
know,
A hint of a bottle.
I think the definition of bottle needs to be standardised. I think we need a proper definition of it, and I think the definition is.
Do you want to go to Oxford
I think the
Dictionary?
definition of bottle jobs in the League of Ireland is Derry City under Rory Higgins. I think that's the definition there.
Right. Harsh words. Stephen Kenny, Adam. I want to touch on Stephen Kenny and St. Patrick's Athletic. I miss that man. Where
St.
is he?
Patrick's Athletic.
I hope he's going to the games. But
Yeah, he probably will, to be fair.
9-win streak at the end of last year, was it?
Oh,
9?
sorry, I'm just thinking about who that is. Right, sorry, yeah. The fella in the green and white. That
Yeah.
Okay, right.
And of course, Celtic. 9-win streak at him at the end of last year. I believe it was. Get Opta on it. But 9-win streak for Stephen Kenny and Pats last year. They were really poor for the season before that. And I think they were lingering in the bottom 3 there for a while.
Yeah,
So it was a miraculous recovery, and to get European football was a great achievement. Do you think they could push it one further to get go into a title race maybe, or what would you see from this year from Pats?
I think Pats, if they aren't heavily favoured in the bookies, they should be.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the Pats fans are funny, man. They like to say, we would have won the league if there was 2 more games in the season. That's brilliant. There's not though, so you actually can't, So they have this kind of moral complex over winning a league that they didn't win. So I think there's a lot of pressure on them. I think they've Kenny's in terms of League of Ireland. I know it didn't work out from the national team. He's a really good manager at this level.
Well, believe it, yeah.
He's recruited well, like the likes of Mulroney and stuff, and Palmer. Like they've really good players.
Well, this is who I wanted to touch on. Romal Palmer. Who is this person?
He was playing for Pats last year. I think he was on loan from
Giuseppe in Turkey.
Turkey, yeah, I was about to say Turkish club.
That caught my eye now earlier on.
Very good player. But they've good players. Like even Mason Mealy is going to
Tottenham for 1.8 million.
Going to Tottenham. I'm going to try and... Is it 1.8 million?
1.8 million.
Yeah.
Rising as well. If I think if he does well or something,
I think it's rising to 4 million, isn't it? Is
yeah.
that what it is? But like the likes of Zach Elbazawi, he was up in Sweden playing football. He's... I don't know if he's a full Irish international, definitely underage. And then even Keane Levy, another underage Ireland international when he was with Shells. They've really good quality. Give Chris Forrester, I know I think he suffered a bad injury. Aidan Keena, they've such a strong squad.
Yeah,
and
they should be winning, right?
I'm not going to go on the limb and say they should be winning it.
Yeah.
But they definitely, I think, if you were to, tell me to back a team right now to win, I probably would fancy Pats in that vein, because I think Kenny's been here, he's done it. He has players in his team that have done it. They've really, like, that was last 9 games. Like, even the game in Talca, the 3-2, which we lost, which Shells lost, sorry. They showed great character in that game to come back. Do you know what I mean? Brendan, I was about to say, I know it's a Brendan Rodgers thing, but to be 2-0 up, kind of leading at a canter, and then for Shells to get back the way they did, to go on further and get the winner in that game was pivotal in a way for them. And I think when you look ahead to this season, they're going to really pile on the pressure. I would say I'd say they'll definitely be up there. I don't know if they'll win it.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at like Rovers will be strong. They're always strong. I don't think they'll be as strong as what they've been. I think Derry will be really good. I think we'll be quite good. I think Bows are in with a sneaky chance of finishing in the top 3, top 4. So I think the top end of the table is as strong as it's been in a few years. I think.
And very quickly, we'll touch on Rovers because you mentioned them there. Few came in. Danny Grant of Bowes and Matt Healy of Royal Francs. I have as the highlight transfers. Obviously, they've brought in loads of players, and it's hard to keep track of all these players coming in. But Johnny Kenny and Neil Ferrugia are the big ones that are out for Rovers. Do you think
Kenny's a big one, man.
they'll struggle? Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're looking towards, Danny Grant, for example, and obviously him and Johnny Kenny are two completely different players. But if your solution to losing Kenny is Danny Grant, it's not really.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but did he move from Bowes
to Rovers? Yeah,
to Rovers? But was he at Rovers before Bowes again?
No, I think he was Bowes, Huddersfield, and then I don't know who he was at in between. We're gonna take a look now. It was definitely Huddersfield, Harrogate Town. Was he over in Huddersfield? I feel like he was. Saying here he was only at Harrogate Town. I'm pretty sure he was at Huddersfield.
Yeah.
The likes of Graham Burke, look, man, they've still got good players. Even Matt Healy coming in, Royal Francs, that's a great name. Is that a real team?
Royal Francs of the Challenger League in Belgium.
Jesus, man.
There you go. I've done my research.
Yeah, it's saying Liam Burt. I think Liam Burt is without a contract. I'm just looking at their squad here in FootMob. I don't know how true any of this is. Look at the likes of Jack Bourne and Graham Burke. This quality players, man. I don't think they'll be as strong. I don't know if you've brought it up, players that's gone, but Marcus Poom, quality player, really, really quality player. Poom. His name is Marcus Poom. They're right now, strike. No, right. No, I think Poom is a big miss, man. He's one of them that when he came over from, I think he's Estonian. People were like, he's not going to settle. He's not going to... Man, he was bossing the league. So composed.
He scored against Chelsea, didn't he?
Scored against Chelsea, composed on the ball, really good off the ball. I think he's going to be one of their biggest misses, man, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they've gutted a lot of the good quality players. That's what from the outside looking in, that's what it looks like. They've gutted a lot of the good quality that they had.
They still have Burke, they still have Mandrew, Bourne. I think Aaron Green might still be knocking them out there. Like, they've still an experienced side, which
they're not
stand to them.
They're not as stacked though.
But
yeah,
I think Johnny Kenny going, man, or going back to Celtic and not playing as well. I'm sure Rovers fans are really frustrated. He's a big miss as well because he even in the Conference League, man, he was A1 in that, wasn't he?
He was top scorer.
Top scorer, like he was, causing teams problems, and it's unfortunate when you see him go back to Celtic and Adam Mead is playing ahead of him, who I think is muck.
Well, he scored in a lot of games, hasn't he?
Yeah, come here. I'd fancy you to do a job in that league, man, to be honest.
Didn't he score twice against
Aston Villa, yeah.
Aston Villa, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So covered most of the title contenders, Adam. I'm thinking shock relegation. We had Dundalk last year. Obviously you have Cork coming up now. Yeah. How do you think they'll fare?
Cork will go straight back down.
You think?
Yeah. I don't fancy Cork to do too well, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's the only team I didn't do a report on their transfers, but yeah.
I think Cork, they do this thing where they will come up, go back down, they'll have a triumphant return, and then a desperate relegation. Like, they have Sean Maguire, Rory Keating. They have good firepower. They have really good firepower, but I think at the back and in the middle, there's a lad playing for them. I think his name's Cathal O'Sullivan. He'll be really good this year. If he has a good season, he'll be with Rovers by summer.
Wow.
Yeah, he has a really high ceiling. So, I just don't particularly rate them. Look, at Turner's Cross is a hard place to go to. Tim Clancy's a very good manager. I just don't see them lasting the test of time.
Who do you have going down then?
Cork finishing bottom, and then playoff. I would say I think Drogheda will be good this year because they've gone full time and they've backing as well, and they're playing in Europe. I think Drogs will be okay. I would say maybe Sligo, not to go down. They won't go down, but they'll definitely be down there.
Right.
I'd say Cork, Sligo, and Waterford will be down there, and then the likes of Galway and Drogheda will be lingering in mid-table.
A few of my favourite names that signed of signings: come from Sligo actually.
Right, go on.
Oscar Van Hettem.
Okay. Where's he from? New Zealand
He's
or
from
something?
New Zealand, Wellington.
Yeah.
And Guilherme Rego Priusi
Wow.
from Longford. Very interesting.
Guilherme Rego Priosti, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice name.
Remember the name?
Yeah, well, we'll find out. Who's that for Sligo, is it?
It's for Sligo, yeah.
I'm looking at it now.
Um,
Kiki as well is another good signing, by the way, for Sligo. He used to play with he's a former Shells player. He went down with Dundalk last year, in fairness. But he real another player with high ceiling. I don't think he never really got a fair crack at it, to be honest. He was injured, he was in and out of the side, but when we were signing players on a couple of years ago, I think he was one of the first players to get a contract. He was one of the first big announcements, him and Sean Boyd, I think it was at the time. And I just feel like he never reached that potential. Probably because he was injured, he was in and out of the side, but when we went to Europe, obviously we were going to Europe last year, that was the big aim last season. Duffer brought the likes of Liam Burt in, and obviously Will Jarvis came back. So there was players there who kind of supplemented Kiki's position in a way. I think Kiki could be very good for Sligo. If he gets a good run on it, I think he'll be very good. But yeah, I think that's one that might go under the radar, is Kiki.
yeah. Outside of that, Adam.
Oscar Van Hattem.
Oscar Van Hattem, yes.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I know you mentioned Bowes as kind of your team for Europe. Who do you see as like a dark horse for this year? Or someone who you don't think that'll do well? Kind of like Drogheda last year, maybe. Who's your Drogheda this year?
To be honest, man, and look, this might sound ridiculous. Drogheda finished 9th last year. They won the cup.
Yeah. But it was a bit of a redemption arc.
It was in a way, and I love Kevin Doherty, the Drogheda manager. He's actually a gentleman. Very easy to deal with. Anytime I've had to deal with him in League One TV, great, really good manager. And he has backing this year, and he's not dealing with things like he was talking about in the press conference the other day. There's a time this season where they're playing Derry on a Monday and Cork on a Friday, both away from home, which is pretty fucking unfair anyways. But he was saying you don't have to worry about getting back to Drogheda and the lads going to work the next day. You can kind of rest, recover. It's like almost like
full-time
professional setup.
Is every team full-time this year?
I think everyone in the league's full-time this year.
That's great stuff.
I think both say they're not full-time, but I'm pretty sure they are.
When was the last time that was done?
I don't know. Could be a first.
Wow.
Could be a first.
Wow,
I don't know. I don't know for a fact. I don't know if everyone is full-time.
I think I heard somewhere that everyone was full-time. Anyway, we'll hold that thought for a minute.
Sorry, to get back to what I was saying about Drogheda. Who was the Drogheda this year? Like, I genuinely think, just because of how bad they were last year at times, I think Bowes are the sleeper team this year.
Right.
Yeah. I think when you bring in a player like Mousset, is that how you pronounce his name?
Lise
Mousset.
Yeah.
I don't speak French. What's the word?
Je ne sais quoi?
No, is it je ne sais? I want to say apologies in French. How do you say that? Like in German, it's like
pardon.
Pardon.
Yeah.
Shout out to no, never mind. I think when you buy a player like him, there has to be some expectation on you then, and Parsons, we haven't talked about Connor Parsons, but he's went over to, I think, Dagenham and Redbridge, when this season with Waterford finished, and then he came straight back to Bowes. I'd love to know what happened in Dagenham. It's probably
he's a winger, is he?
He's a winger. He scored that goal in the playoff that Waterford won. But he's a player of real pedigree. I think if you can get him, if you can get him playing. And this is the thing with
he was in a video with Klopp, wasn't he?
Klopp, yeah.
Sorry, that just kept from mind.
If you can get these players motivated, get these players firing, like Bowes need to start well, I think. I think if Bowes don't start well, they're going to fall into the trap they did with managers previous where, Declan decline, like managers like that where there's a toxic kind of atmosphere then, and the club, the players aren't feeling it. And it was like that with Reynolds for a bit last season. I don't think it's going to be the same this season, because I do believe, I think they've stuck with him for a reason. I do believe that they wouldn't have stuck with him otherwise. But the likes of Rooney, the likes of Ross Tierney, man. Ross Tierney could have a really good season as well. Lees Mousset.
That's what I was about to say, Adam. Because I have, I want to get your predictions for your breakout star of the year, or / player of the year / golden boot winner. We'll throw them all into one
All
category.
into one. I think the obvious, the three, I don't want to say obvious ones, the three that, all things going well, could blow the league away is Meepo of Shells, Boyce of Derry, and then I'm telling you now, Mousset could be a really good signing. Like, you don't play in the Premier League for nothing, man.
I actually think that's going to flop. I'm going to be honest.
Mousset?
Yeah, my opinion on that transfer is there's so much hype around it. There's so much noise.
And to be honest with you, right, I think the Bowls fans sometimes do this where they're very kind of, what's the word? Is it satirical? They're very funny in a way. And, like, they're making this like a joke already before it's even happened. But this could go really wrong. Like, he could be really bad. I don't think he will. I have a feeling he's gonna be good. I don't think you play in the Premier League for nothing. But it is gonna go one of two ways. Do you know? And it's gonna be like car crash TV, man. It's gonna be. You don't want to look at it, but you can't take your eyes off it. You know.
I'd be a bit worried for his attitude as well. He has a past history apparently.
Yeah, but I think they're the three that I think you could look at in terms of, you know, newcomers to the league and players with you know, maybe some expectation on them. I think from Shell's point of view, I think Harry Wood is going to be, he's the match winner last year. He pretty shit last year, to be honest, when he came back. In his first season at Shells, I was told by people within the club that he was one of the best players ever that Duff has seen, train, stuff like that. And, you know, in terms of Shells, in terms of League of Ireland football, he's had a full pre-season. He looked really fit. He looked really sharp on Friday. I do think if him at his best, he's probably a level above this league. I think if he, again, another player, if he can get firing, motivated, fit, I think Harry Wood could be very much up there as the player of the season. Now, this is, you know, going off the plan for Shells if they were to have another good season, you know.
Yeah. Golden boot winner. I'm going to get one word answer for that one. What's your thoughts on that? Who do you think is going to win the golden boot?
Boyce.
Yeah. Of Derry.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm going to say I'm going to give it to a reliable goal scorer, Paddy Hammond. I said that.
Padraig Hammond.
I predicted that last year, actually. I remember predicting that.
Yeah, great finish, man.
I'm so proud of that prediction for someone with so little knowledge.
He's a player I would have loved. Obviously, it was never going to happen, but if Hammond was on the market and if there was some way Duff could get him to Shells, I'd have loved him, even up there with Boyd, even if without Boyd or whatever. He's a really good player. He's one of Waterford's 3 that they've re-signed and a huge list of outgoings. I have written here. They have loads of people leaving the club. Yeah.
But maybe I would say that's instability, relegation talk. But
I think as long as you have Padraig Hammond up front, I think I think they'll be all right. I think Cork are the ones that you would put the wife and kids on going down. You know, like, they're after getting Lonergan from Pats. Matty Smith is a good signing. Like, they've brought in
good
not bad players, man. You know, the manager's decent. There's a lot of unknown about them. That would be the only thing. And they have lost players, you know. They have lost some players that you're kind of going, I don't know if that's a good one. But they have done well. And obviously, look, they have that relationship with Fleetwood. I think it's the same owner. So that's why a lot of players are coming over from Fleetwood. Lonergan's played for Pats. Like, Waterford would be okay. Waterford would be fine, I'd say.
Yeah, I think we've covered the bases here. Mostly, we haven't really ran through Galway, but what do you think of Galway? They had one of the best defensive records.
That's John Caulfield and Ollie Horgan for you. In a nutshell, they're gonna win you games by, you know, just shithousing defending. I remember being up there in the running, and they beat us 1-0. Longest drive home ever. But they beat us 1-0 anyways. They had 2 shots in the game, scored 1, and the other hit the post. they just defended their box for the rest of the game. And
Scott Parker, Simeone, Inzaghi.
like it's that sounds like me being bitter. I really respect it. I love looking at Atletico Madrid do that in a game where they just defend their lives away.
Who are playing really nice football at the moment, by the way.
They are, yeah. And I think that's going on the radar. That's the story for them today.
I watched them the other week against Getafe.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I was looking at the El Clasico on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I love you, Diego Simeone.
Madrid derby, was it?
The Madrid derby.
Yeah.
Alvarez.
I was feeling I missed that, actually.
Yeah,
but,
okay.
Anyway, on to
digress.
Digress, sorry. On to, I was going to chat about the upcoming first weekend, Adam. Some good games here. Cork against Galway, 7:45 at Turner's Cross.
Excuse me.
St. Pat's against Drogheda in Richmond. Shells against Derry live on Virgin Media on the Friday as well. And then you have Sligo Waterford, the Saturday game, quarter-to-8 game. And finally, Bows versus Rovers. We know that's in the Aviva at 2 p.m. on Sunday. It's a good list of fixtures. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I look at. We can talk about the Aviva game and maybe I know there's like it's really good for the league that there was times when you'd barely get 1,000 people into a ground for a League of Ireland game, and now there's 25. I think it's 25,000, 30,000 tickets.
It's over 30 now.
Yeah, sold. So it's like
brilliant.
It's really good for the league. It's good for Bow as well. I think they'll get a fair chunk from that. It's a good barometer where the league is going. The trajectory of the league is constantly going that way. So it's when sorry, just for those listening audio, I'm pointing upwards. Because people are going to be listening to this, not looking at it. But yeah, I think it shows where the league's going, and the Virgin Media deal itself. There's been a deal announced with Off the Ball this week too. Really good stuff for the league. A long time coming, to be honest. It's
and can you see this momentum continuing? That's probably the question. Like, will this momentum continue, or will it just die? Like that's.
I sincerely hope it continues.
Yeah.
Like it is. The only way for this to continue is for.
Where has this momentum came from? That's the question that I want to know. Where
the manager of Shelbourne Football Club.
You think?
Yeah, I think you can attribute a lot of it down to him. Yeah, raising standards. I think there's been a bigger interest in the league for the last few years as well, and I think
it's picked up though.
We kind of touched on the sorry, for what it's worth, Stephen Bradley and Rovers have a lot to be thankful for as well for in terms of the league growing. But sorry, the point I was making, the league's been growing year on year since COVID. It's been a constant upward trajectory because people were deprived of football, and I think it's almost like a cultural thing as well in Ireland. I think a lot of people are looking at the Premier League and going, that's so far, not even so far away, but that's so unattainable. It's hard to, and I'm not having to dig at Premier League fans. I'm obviously a fan of Liverpool, but I think a lot of people are like being, what's the word?
Has it just been diluted and people just aren't interested anymore? That could
There's a word I'm looking for. People are being, what is it? It's very obviously it's so expensive to get over and watch a game, but there's a word I'm looking
priced
for.
out.
Priced out. That's the exact word. People are being priced out of it, and I think people are kind of going now. Like if you have a young family now and look at your son or whatever, or your daughter supports Premier League football, and they're like, oh, I want to go over. It's very hard to say no to a child, I'd imagine, if you have one. So you're gonna want an alternative, and a lot of these issues we have in the League of Ireland sometimes is infrastructure. Like Bows are at a point now with Dalymount. Obviously, it's being renovated and they're doing it up, but they can't. There's only they're not letting people in. They have to stop people at the door because week on week it's sold out. Like Rovers have, I think nearly 10,000 seater stadium now. Shells are going to be doing work to Tolga. Pat's the same. Like the infrastructure has to go while the league's going up. Do you know what I mean? You have to fix that.
And we don't really have a collaborative government at the moment, or one with any.
Jesus.
So it'll be interesting to see now if, I kind of like what Bows are doing with the statement. Oh, we're going to give up home advantage. See how much we can sell.
Yeah.
If if this government sees attendance is skyrocketing, FAI brings a proposal, we need to
We see the FAI man as well aren't like the League of Ireland is the FAI's kind of problem child
yeah, I know it's
because they don't it's its own entity
Yeah.
like they don't give a fuck either.
It would be interesting if they made that statement and brought a proposal to the government here. We need to rebuild stadiums. Everything's so expensive now, I know, but surely there's something that.
But they have given grants to a few clubs. Like a few clubs have gotten grants, but like even Bowes playing in the Viva, it's a part of it is to raise funds essentially for the stadium. And I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Bowes Pats or a Bowes Shells in the Viva by the time the season's out. I'm telling you now, I know this probably sounds
I don't think
far away, I'm pretty sure they do it up north where I think they play some of the bigger games in Windsor Park, just for whatever reason to get more people into the ground. So I wouldn't be surprised now if we seen a Pats Shell a Pats Bowes, a Shells Bowes, a Pats Rovers, Shells Rovers in the Aviva by this season though.
But we have.
Go on.
We have Milan Derby in San Siro. You know. I know.
Yeah,
it's not the same thing,
I know.
I think it's when the league's not struggling, but the league wants to grow, and I think ideas outside the box are good for this.
You have to make accessibility better for fans trying to get the games. Essentially, that's kind of one of the main issues here. That's why and like I think a rising tide brings all the boats up. And I think there's a wave at the minute with the League of Ireland that they kind of have to pounce on it. And I think the ball is in the court of a lot of the clubs, and like even Shells for us winning the league last year, 2016, man, I could have never seen Shells do this, and we're at a point now of the trajectory is just going upward and upward. And Bowes, they were on a similar path, and they did win something, and that kind of halted it ever so slightly. So
sorry to cut across. I'm assuming that Rovers' good result as well in Europe would bring the UEFA coefficient up as well.
I'm not sure if it brings it up for the incoming season. I think it might be for the year after. I don't know. I'm not too certain. But it's like that again, man. You have to, for this league to flourish, you have to give it everything it needs. And whether that's, infrastructure, more coverage, like even off the ball, taking on those 30 games this year, that's massive, man. Because there's a lot of people who listen to the radio. And I know that sounds stupid, but like if you're abroad and you haven't got access to League of Ireland TV, but you have access to off the ball, you're gonna listen to the radio. So stuff like that. And I think the problem with the world is we have access to bleeding everything, don't we? So everything's very accessible that way. But no, I think the league is in a very healthy position. Could be healthier, but it's definitely, I don't want to say the word thriving, but it's definitely as good as it's been.
That about covers the bases, Adam. I don't think I have anything else to bring up.
Do you want to make a table for TikTok? You can make a TikTok out of this.
I don't think I'll have to. I'm strapped for time, but we'll do a table.
We'll do 10-1. We'll go relegation down.
Okay, relegation down.
Who have you got finishing bottom?
I'm going to go Waterford.
Wow.
Bottom. I'll go Cork 9th. I'll
Yeah.
go Sligo 8th. I'll go Galway 7th. I'll go Drogheda 6th. Derry 5th. Bowes 4th. I'm going to go Shells 3rd. I'm going to go Pats 2nd. And I'm going to go Rovers
I think
1st.
Rovers are going to win it.
I'm going to go Rovers, yeah. Easy.
Yeah. I think
Pedigree.
Cork will finish bottom because they're terrible. I think Sligo will finish 9th in the playoff. I think they'll struggle this year. Recruitment wise, like losing Chapman and Moran, their two best players from last year, I think isn't great. I'm gonna go 8th. I'll put Galway. I'll go Galway 8th. I'll go Waterford 7th. Because of Padraig Ammons, essentially. I think he has enough in himself. And I'm interested to see these Fleetwood players coming in. Like, I think Lonergan's going to be really good. He's done it in the league before. He's been here before. 6th, I'll go Drogs. 5th, I'll go... Whoa. See, the top half is difficult, man.
I'm going to have to
The top half is difficult. I'll go Bowes 5th. I could come across really stupid by the end of the season. Derry 4th, Rovers 3rd, Shell 2nd, Pats top. I think Pats should. If Pats aren't heavily favoured by the bookies, they should be.
Yeah, Shell 2nd. Yeah. I don't know.
And to be honest, man, that probably sounds ridiculous, but it's the Duffer factor. It's the recruitment we've brought in. Like we've done.
Duffer factor.
Come here, man. It's we've done really well recruitment as well. So I think pressure makes diamonds as well, and I think the Shell side could have another good season. I think we're in for another good year. We're gonna move on to get it out now. We did have issues, audio wise. One of the microphones went dead, I think, isn't it?
It must have just been unable to hack my voice anymore.
It's a good thing I've done a lot of chat there, so
Yeah.
it's more me than you. So
Hopefully.
I'm sure you can adjust the audio in some way, shape, or form, Kieran.
Yeah, it's boring when these things happen, Adam. But
I know it happens to us a lot as well, but we'll march on. It's not your fault. Don't do that, you fucking idiot. We start off with Dave. He says, "When will Bose's title charge fall off?" Are they on a title charge yet, Kieran?
Not yet.
Not yet.
When Mousset starts scoring, though.
On Mousset.
Mousset, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny because Pats won the league if they had 2 extra games, and Bowes in previous years have won the league in March. So yeah, it's very funny. Neither side have actually won the league in past years compared to shouts. But we move on. Dave says how many he says how many screenshots of Adzy's story will Lean have this season? Do you know the story behind this?
Yeah, he took a screenshot of.
So Ian told me a week after Shells won the league, he said every week of that I put a picture up of Shells or a post up about Shells, that he took a screenshot of my Instagram story in the hope that Shells lost the league. So yeah, Dave,
What a miserable existence.
he's a miserable bastard,
Yeah,
man. I
fucking
hope he
hell.
listens to this because he's the most miserable bastard
Yeah.
alive.
Fucking hell.
He's like a real life Jerry Hannon. I know Jerry Hannon's real. But yeah, a lot, Dave, if I had to guess. He says, Ado Canavan, do you know this chap, I assume?
I know Ada, or Aiden, I call him.
He says, Rovers are obviously going to take back the title, aren't they, Kieran? You actually said they would.
I think
I bet you're fuming now.
No, Aiden, to be honest with you, it's up in the air. I did say they would take it back, but that's just because they're the richest club in the league and they're funded.
Bankroll the league,
bankrolled, yeah.
Desmond.
So that was my reasoning behind it.
David Dunwoody says, how many trips will Adam have to the Princess in Portugal over the week? P.S. It's a strip club. And none, Kieran. No, I'm not going to the Princess.
Adam,
What?
I know that face when you're lying.
Ian says, do the lads have moose fever? No, but I'm intrigued to see how this goes. I am intrigued to see how it goes.
I
like.
see the excitement in your face.
I honestly, as far as the neutral goes, and I don't particularly like Bowes or Ian, but I am very intrigued to see how it goes. Honestly.
Yeah, but like, it's crazy the hype a mediocre club record signing gets, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is-
Mediocre.
Like, he wasn't great, was he?
Gary Vavaswar says a team with red on their jersey to win the league. So ourselves, Pats, Sligo. Well, Bowes aren't going to win it, so it won't be Bowes. But what you think's one of them win the league? You don't agree. You picked Rovers. I don't know why I'm looking at you. Or Derry. Ian Fallon says, could Adam please pronounce Mousset properly? Mousset. I think I've pronounced it properly the whole time.
I was saying boo.
I was saying Mousset. Gary says, game you're most looking forward to. Honestly, Derry away, just to relive the night we won the league.
Bowes Rovers on Sunday because I'm
Sunday.
going at him.
Ian gives his predictions. He says, Pats to win, Aidan Keane top scorer, Shells to run them close, Derry to flop, and Cork going down. Yeah, I think pretty similar to what I said. I think Aidan Keane, he's going to have a good season this season. He's one of the best players, one of the best strikers in the league. Nice. I'm paranoid of
No, yours is fine. Yours is fine.
Gary Vav says, everyone be careful out there, as I heard there is a moose on the loose.
Genie, Mac,
Jesus
lads.
wept.
Come on.
Stephen Dowling says, Shelbourne, Champions League. Shelbourne, Champions League. Yeah, Champions League game's going to be great this year as well. hearing the UEFA jingle as they walk out onto the pitch. Senan, bringing it back to Premier League football, he says, could Chris Wood... could Chris Wood knowing what Chris Wood could do? I have no idea what that means. But yeah, I suppose Chris Wood knowing what Chris Wood could do. Yeah, he could. Senan says, which is... Oh, right, okay. I don't know if this will stay in. He says, which is further, flying from Dublin to Dubai or Dublin to Brazil? Why does he say that, Carl?
No comment.
He says, dream Barclays Premier League, name the 20 clubs that should be in it. Oh.
Wait, dream
Dream, so a whole, like your dream 20 teams in Premier League.
I'm not doing that. Like, it's going to take too much time.
Oh, can I do it? Really
we have to be practical here, Alan.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. I do want to do
I need to
something
sleep
like that.
tonight.
Can we do that next week?
Yeah, we'll do it next week, yeah.
Senan says, top scorer, one to watch, and potential young player of the year in the League of Ireland. Top scorer, I said Boyce, didn't I? One to watch, Harry Wood, and then young player of the year. Good question, son. From Michelle's point of view, I think Lewis Temple. I think he had a really good season with Wexford last year.
I'm going to go Moose A, top scorer.
Did you not pick Almond to be top scorer?
I did, but for the
20 minutes
laws,
ago?
Moose A.
One to watch, Mousset.
One to watch,
Mousset.
Tierney. Ross Tierney is one to watch because he's just back in the league. And
Young player of the year.
young player of the year, Malia.
Mousset. Okay.
Mason Malia.
Ah, man, I'm not fucking answering that question, son. He says, is Kanye in his tweets enough to stop the rising points? I don't know, man. I really don't know.
I think he did say he hated Diageo, though, Adam. So maybe.
Oisin Mason says, are you worried about anyone in particular, or is it too early? Oisin's a Bows fan, so I assume that's referring to Bows. Look, I think Bows could have a good season this year, and I think anything better than last season is a
Keep
good
saying
season.
that.
No, I'm being honest.
No, but keep saying it.
Would I be worried about Bows? Not necessarily, because I think Shell's squad-wise is
Good midfield,
is stronger and deeper. Really good midfield, yeah. And I think Pats are going to be really good. But yeah, no, I wouldn't be too worried about Bows just yet. Sham Galvin says, Sham by name, Sham by nature. He says, Duff to get sacked halfway through the season. I predict Pats to win the league. Bows will finish 10th and Shell's 9th. That's what you thinking of him?
Who does Sham support?
Pats.
Yeah. No, I would have predicted.
And Chelsea. So you'd get on well with Sham. You're about to lose.
Duffer to get sacked halfway through the season. What do you think of that?
I don't see it happening.
Imagine like he just lost every single game.
Like, come here, it could happen.
He gets sacked.
And to be fair, the League of Ireland, man, it
But
can
would he
be
get
ruthless.
sacked if he lost every single game for 19 games straight?
I personally wouldn't sack him.
If he lost every single game for 19 games,
I wouldn't sack him.
that's crazy, Adam.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Yeah, it is. He'd have 0 points.
Ultim Corcoran says, do you think Lise Mousset will hit the ground running, or will supply from the Bows mids be poor?
They've good mids, though.
Yeah, I think, like,
Tierney's
to be honest with
good.
you, I think Rooney is very good. I don't think he's as good as like what the top teams have, or the I suppose the teams that finished higher than Bows last season. The likes of Mulroney or even Wood, Ali Q. I don't think Rooney's as good as them. Parsons is. I think Parsons. If Shells had got Parsons, I'd have been very happy. Ross Tierney, again, really really good player. So I don't think the midfield options is a problem, but they did struggle at times last
Dawson
season.
Devoy
as well, yeah.
He's a good player.
I don't know if he'll hit the ground running. I think he kind of has to. I think there's a lot of pressure on him, but he's a Premier League level talent, or he was at one stage.
The Moose is on the loose.
We're going to end with Alton's question. He says, what's one item of food you think you could eat the most of if you were entering a competition? Oh, nice way to end our League of Ireland preview.
I'd love to just eat loads of chicken wings in a row.
I was about to say chicken wings, man. I think I could polish off a few chicken wings.
What was that? I don't know. No, just what was...
I think I could polish off a lot of chicken wings. How spicy would your chicken wings be?
You changed the subject.
No, we're literally talking about chicken wings.
Chicken wings. Sorry, we're talking about chicken wings.
Psycho killer. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Ba 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 ba. Run, 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 run.
I really
away.
like buffalo sauce. Really like buffalo.
Yeah, but could you stomach a lot of buffalo sauce?
No, I think a plain wing maybe.
Oh man, that'd be fucking boring as fuck. You wouldn't have any flavour in your life then.
What would you have?
I'd have buffalo wings as well. But I like buffalo sauce, so I feel like I could eat a lot of buffalo wings in general. That's me as someone who's, you know, a fan of food. I imagine I could do buffalo wings. Sorry, maybe to be contrary, I'd say I could put away a lot of sausage rolls. I love a bit of pastry.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all for our League of Ireland preview.
We hope you enjoyed.
We hope you enjoyed. Yeah, we really do. We hope you enjoyed.
Also, if there's audio issues again, out of my control, unfortunately. I even charged the mics and somehow died, so my bad for that. But
come here, we can't. I can't think of the word. Sorry, we can't just.
I thought you just died there, like had an aneurysm or something.
Yeah, you didn't do anything. And we can't justify technology sometimes, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah. But anyway,
were you really concerned there?
Yeah, well, I thought there was something wrong. But,
God.
Yeah, subscribe to the YouTube, follow the TikTok. We're almost on 100 followers. Just follow the TikTok. Nothing else to report on.
Nothing else to add. Before the season kicks off, I do want to remind everyone, and this is serious now for a second, I do want to remind everyone that Shelbourne are the champions. And if you didn't want Shells to win the league, you shouldn't have let us win the league. We'll leave it there, so.